Training in Miami, Florida, Luis King Kong Ortiz is preparing for a January 1st clash with Charles Martin. Ortiz has been widely feared in the heavyweight division, boasting a 75% knockout percentage. The only blemish on King Kong's record are 2 losses to another feared and powerful heavyweight, Deontay Wilder. But even in those losses, Ortiz had success against the Bronze Bomber, starting with their first meeting.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for the heavyweight championship of the world.
March 3rd, 2018, we're going to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. It's Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz. At this point, Luis Ortiz was the boogeyman. No one wanted to fight this guy. You know who was willing to step up and fight this guy? Deontay Wilder.
Mi entrenador me decía, esto es un momento, tú sabes que es un momento grande. Uno siempre tiene nervios, siempre sucede eso, pero yo lo que quería era salir a hacer mi trabajo.
Here is the challenger from Miami by way of Cuba.
We had talked about this even before the fight. He doesn't have your skill. It's a matter of time.
Here is the defending heavyweight champion of the world.
When you think of Luis Ortiz, you think about this guy hasn't lost many rounds in his entire career.
We're underway.
Ortiz is having success. Remember, he's from that Cuban school of boxing. Tight punches, high guard.
And Ortiz retaliates with a straight left.
Beginning of this fight until the middle portion of this fight, it's all Ortiz. And he's boxing. He's showing off that jab. He's showing off that left hook when he needs it. Really giving Wilder a lot of issues.
I believe Luis Ortiz was doing rather well. He seemed to be in control. He was boxing, he was using his jab, throwing combinations, throwing the 1-2.
And a big straight left hand there by Ortiz.
The fight kind of started the way it should. The better boxer having the edge. Now, Ortiz was pushing Wilder back. He was pressuring him. He was blocking a lot of shots, and he was landing his straight left here and there until the 5th round.
He got rocked somewhere around the 5th round or so, and then in turn he rocked Wilder in the 7th.
His eyes are wide open, big right by Ortiz. Ortiz trying to finish off Deontay Wilder. Wilder is hurt.
Wilder hanging on for dear life, wrapping up with Ortiz, trying to stop the carnage.
Everything to bring an end to the night to Wilder. A big straight left. Dave feels down.
This is the most hurt we've seen Deontay Wilder at this point in his career.
En mi mente siempre estoy tirando piñazos, está en la cama durmiendo. En el 7º pasó lo que pasó, el golpe que yo le di, el deseo de tener mi victoria. Era lo único que escuchaba, era la campana y Germán gritándome en el oído.
I think they would have stopped the fight if it were Wilder pounding on Lewis for 1 minute and 8 seconds. Probably the referee would have stepped in and said, that's enough. I don't need to see anymore. You're not defending yourself, which Wilder was not.
That was a crazy freaking fight. When Luis Ortiz hurt him and practically had him out on his feet, I remember everybody on press row stood up. I even stood up, had my hands over my head. I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Round 7 finally ends. It probably felt like an eternity for Wilder. And you know that Ortiz felt like this was his moment.
So here we are in the 10th round. Ortiz has gained control over the fight. Wilder does what he normally does, a barrage of punches, ends it with a right uppercut, drops Ortiz, the referee waves it off.
This one is over. He is the baddest man of the fighting for a reason.
Agotado, súper agotado, ya no tenía gas en mi sistema, ya no respiraba bien, ya no escuchaba, ya cuando eso sucede, game over.
A lot of people ringside who were saying that fight could have got stopped in the 7th round. So therefore, that mystique of him being the boogeyman stayed with Ortiz even after that loss to Deontay Wilder.
Wilder and Ortiz. The rematch is coming up now.
November 2019, we're in MGM Grand in Las Vegas for the rematch. Luis Ortiz getting his second crack at Deontay Wilder. And this was Ortiz's chance to right the one wrong and one blemish in his career.
You talk to Wilder, he will tell you, I want to avenge that. I want to have revenge because Ortiz gave me the toughest fight of my life. I want to erase all doubts.
Ready to go, Wilder and Ortiz, round number 1 for the heavyweight title.
I thought that it was a picture-perfect fight plan that we put together that was working to perfection.
Right in the position. Wow, that's a big left hand by Ortiz.
Siempre voy a estar ahí encima de la guerra. Me gusta el boxeo y ese es mi estilo.
And there he throws one at Wilder. Now he goes to the body.
Luis Ortiz knows the kind of power that Deontay Wilder has. But he doesn't seem leery of it. He seems relaxed. He seems comfortable to be in a ring with the most dangerous puncher probably of all times. And he's literally winning every single round, outboxing Deontay Wilder.
There's a calmness, there's a patience to Luis Ortiz and his attack. And he was having success doing what he wanted until he wasn't.
I saw it coming. I saw him throw 2 giveaway right hands to lead up to that straight right hand.
I think he was ahead comfortably in the cards going into the 7th round. I think Luis Ortiz put his hands down for just a couple of seconds and relaxed. And there came that right hand. That was just like Thor, coming in with the hammer. There's nothing that you can say bad about Luis Ortiz, except that he got caught by, the punch of one of the most hardest hitting heavyweight punchers in the history of the sport.
This was Luis Ortiz's first return fight after getting knocked out by Deontay Wilder. And I think what fans wanted to see is him be challenged and see how much is left of him and how much that knockout affected Luis Ortiz.
I don't want to say it felt like a sparring match, but it wasn't far from it.
La gana de quitarme lo que me había pasado tenía que suceder con alguien y todavía no se me ha quitado. Así que el que venga todavía va a pagar las 2 pérdidas que he tenido con Wilder.
This was going to be a great measuring stick and a great test to see where Ortiz is at. As the fight begins, it becomes quickly apparent that King Kong is still in the building.
A lot of weight on those shots. He goes hard to the body with that left hand immediately.
And in round 1, Ortiz lands the right hook to the body.
Down goes Flores already. 1 shot to the body.
It's another knockout victory for Luis Ortiz. And Ortiz told the boxing world, hey, I'm still here. I'm back. I can still knock people out.
Momentum is everything in boxing, and Ortiz has it now. He has a big knockout on national televised fight. Now he has a confidence builder. Now he can go head into the second part of his career or the latter part of his career as he tries to become a champion, because that's the ultimate goal for him, with a big knockout win. That's big for Luis Ortiz's psyche.
Charles Martin is a guy from Missouri who, as a kid, got in a lot of trouble. As a matter of fact, he went to jail, I believe, 2 or 3 times. And finally, when he got out, he had the opportunity to, redo his life, and start as a boxer. He came out to California to actually get into a program in Carson, California. And that's how he started.
Charles Martin is somebody who got into the boxing at 22 years old, but a little bit more natural than any other fighter that maybe have started that late. But he had enough power, he had enough quickness, he had enough footwork to get him to the IBF title in Brooklyn.
Now making his way to the ring, here is the undefeated number 3 IBF heavyweight contender.
You gotta consider at this point in the heavyweight game, for the last 10 years, the Klitschko brothers dominated the heavyweight division. All those fights were overseas. And could we have another American heavyweight champion in Charles Martin? He gets his big shot against Glazkov at the Barclays Center. Those were the grand aspirations for Charles Martin.
Martin is a very qualified heavyweight. He's big, He's a good boxer. He's a southpaw. He's got a lot of knockouts. He's been on a roll.
I knew I was gonna win the title. I knew I was gonna beat him, and I touched him early in the rounds, you know, and he felt the power. You know, he didn't really want to engage much. I kind of trampled over him, you know, with a combination of punches.
Glazkov is from Ukraine. He's a tough fighter, but Martin has a 4.5-inch reach advantage going into this fight, and that was on display. Charles Martin doing what he wanted in there. It didn't seem like this was going to be much of a test for Charles Martin that night. Round 3, down goes Glazkov. He's got the injury. He cannot continue. That night, Charles Martin became the IBF heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. You know, and especially to my promoter, you know, rest in peace, Michael King. You know, he wanted, that was his whole vision. You know, have a heavyweight champion. So he got one. Even though he's up in heaven, you know, he still had one. So I fulfilled his dream and mine as well.
When you sign a contract for a fight, if a guy has an injury in the ring, that's a win. That's a TKO victory. It's not Charles Martin's fault that he couldn't continue. He went in there to fight. He was going in there trying to win the IBF title, and Glazkov couldn't continue. He got a lot of heat for that. People saying he didn't earn the victory. Guess what? He earned it. He had the strap.
And once you get that strap, now you have the bullseye on your back. And Martin accepted that bullseye because 85 days later, he traveled to fight the most dangerous fighter at that time, Anthony Joshua.
Charles Martin becomes the IBF champ, and he had the opportunity to defend against several people. However, he gets an offer for £6 million, or $8.5 million, to fight Anthony Joshua, a guy that was young, hungry, coming up, and who was waiting as well, just like Charles Martin had been waiting for his opportunity to fight for a world title.
You can hear the fans in favor of their man, Anthony Joshua, and you knew that this was going to get into the head of Charles Martin.
And I could see the whole crowd when I was coming out. You know, it was no tunnel vision, no focus. You know, it was out of there, man.
Round 2, Anthony Joshua, boom, big right hand, down goes Martin. And Charles Martin was able to get up from that first knockdown, but he probably shouldn't have. There's another right hand from Joshua, puts Martin down again, and this time the referee waves it off. Anthony Joshua is now the IBF heavyweight champion of the world.
That was the worst experience I ever had in my life, you know. And I did the right thing at the end of the day to not keep taking, you know, unnecessary punishment when I just wasn't in the right state of mind and, you know, shape to be in the fight.
Maybe he could have continued. Nevertheless, a learning lesson for that fight, and he knows what it is to be a world champion. He has that pedigree, so maybe this fight will get him some way. There's a path back to one of those world titles.
He lost his heavyweight championship belt, but he did compete against one of the best heavyweights of this era, and he knew that it was time to go back to the drawing board, create a new game plan, try to come back stronger than ever, and hopefully challenge for the heavyweight title again one day.
Ladies and gentlemen, the action continues here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as we now have 10 rounds in the heavyweight division.
Charles Martin gets his chance versus Daniel the Mountain Martz. 6'7", 79-inch reach. Martz is a large opponent and a good measuring stick for Charles Martin.
Oh, down to one knee, a left, and Martin steps away.
Hey!
He's up.
That's it.
You want to continue?
That's it. He does not continue.
I had the team vote who wanted, you know, how they wanted the knockout to be, body shot or head shot. Everybody said body shot, so I delivered. That's a devastating shot if you watch the slow-mo on that, you know. And it was on the end of the shot, you know. Our punches, the tall guys, the power is at the end of the shot, so he caught definitely at the end of the shot. And yeah, he's a good dude though, man. He's pretty strong too. I just took my time, man, and was patient and got the victory, man.
February 2020, we're in Las Vegas under the bright lights on a big card. This is the Fury Wilder undercard here of their rematch, and Charles Martin is in the ring with Gerald Washington. Gerald Washington fought Deontay Wilder. He's a former football player, very, very athletic and very, very dangerous in there.
A lot of energy in the room, so yeah, you gotta learn how to block it all out and just be focused at the task at hand. And I dealt with my nerves really well, and I went out there and I knew it was gonna be like a chess game, you know, because this guy, you know, he has his boxing abilities, you know, so I had to, you know, flatten those tires by attacking his body early in the rounds.
Charles Martin seemed to be more aggressive than Gerald Washington. Charles Martin was able to catch him several times going into the 6th round. He had already hit Gerald Washington with a few hard shots. And then in the 6th round, he caught him. It was a sensational punch.
That's a knockdown score by Charles Martin. Big left hand.
It only takes one shot.
That's it. It's over.
Everybody was a little bit shocked, you know, that it was such a hard punch and that Gerald Washington went down in such a manner.
We were working on that shot in the gym, because that's the shot that they wanted me to catch him with, because they knew that when he goes to throw his right hand, he doesn't protect with his shoulder. Manny, Edgar, you know, these guys were the missing ingredient to me growing as a fighter, you know, because at some point you need world-class trainers to train a world-class fighter. So these guys really, you know, took me to the next level. I gained more confidence, more skill, more tools in my arsenal.
There's no such thing as a small fight, no such thing as a tune-up fight. No, every fight is the biggest fight of your career. That's how you have to treat it. Like you're fighting for the world title in every single fight, and he proved that night. The Luis Ortiz is the biggest fight of Charles's career, the most important fight.
I think that knockout of Gerald Washington meant a lot for Charles Martin, because now he had shown that he could fight against bigger names than Martz, and maybe get another opportunity with hopes of getting to another title fight.
Thank you for watching. Well, if you enjoyed that clip, make sure you click somewhere around here and subscribe. From fight highlights to exclusive interviews, we have got everything you need as a boxing fan right here on PBC on Fox.